Hello, church family. As you can see, I survived my wilderness trip last week. Thank you for praying for me. Had a great, refreshing time with the other pastors that were there. But it's really good to be home as well, and glad to be back serving with you all. I have a couple really exciting announcements to share with you, and I thought a video was the appropriate way to do it because it would take a little bit too much time on Sunday morning to share. It's going to require a little backstory. So for the last couple years, I've noticed that the Lord has been adding to our church family folks that have served in vocational ministry. And it seems like that is adding on more and more. Toward the end of last year, I decided that it had become a significant enough thing that I needed to actually make a list of all the folks who are now part of our church family who were formerly in vocational ministry. I listed out 13 men who used to be preaching pastors who are now in the pew, and this does not count the pastors on our church staff. These are men who are just part of our church family now, and the Lord has redirected their paths. 13 former preaching pastors, and then another additional 8 who served as associate pastors or executive pastors or worship pastors or youth pastors. Putting all that together, that's a large amount of wisdom and experience along with their wives in what ministry actually looks like. Since I've made that list, there's a couple more that have started coming to our church that are in that same category. And so now for the last several months, been praying through, okay, Lord, it's more than just having the ability to ask these men to fill the pulpit when necessary. I know they've done a wonderful job. Many of you know who I'm talking about because they've served in our church pulpit many times. But it's more than that. Lord, why are you bringing this group of people together, this collective wisdom and experience? Then we realized that our church family is in the shadow of Cedarville University, and with seminary training that's taking place online, we've got numbers of folks in our church who are preparing to enter vocational ministry. It is great to have that academic and classroom and book knowledge as you're preparing and training for vocational ministry, but there's so much more to ministry than what you can learn in a book or in a classroom, and that collective wisdom that we have sitting in our church could be used to really encourage and strengthen and help fill in some of those gaps maybe with those young people who are coming up looking to enter into vocational ministry as pastors or missionaries or youth pastors or children's pastors or worship leaders. And so what we thought as we've been praying through this and talking as a staff and talking with our deacons and talking with some of those individuals on that list is that we could develop some kind of a program. We're thinking it's more of a practicum where we can come alongside these students in their training and speak that wisdom and experience to them. I'm excited because all of that seems to be coming together. James Reisner, who is one in that list, has had experience as a pastor, and now he leads our Association of Churches here in the Greater Dayton Association. And he is excited about helping make that happen as well, because there's a crossover not just with our own church family, but then in the larger association of other churches that we have here in the Greater Dayton Association. And so we're looking to launch a ministry, a practicum ministry, where we are connecting those two groups, the students who are preparing and those who have that wisdom and experience, connecting them together and helping them to grow together. So right now, we're looking at maybe a program that starts in the fall as the fall classes, the fall semester kicks up, and that would have 3 different components. One of the components would be to find those students who are preparing for ministry and plug them into a rotation in our church. So, for example, let's say we have a student who's preparing to do worship ministry. It would be really beneficial to have them rotate through the various ministries in our church, spend a couple months in the nursery, a couple months in children's ministry, at the registration table or teaching, a couple months with the youth, a couple months with our senior adults, a couple months with the welcome desk and the greeters, a couple months in the tech booth, a couple months in adult life groups, just plugging them into all sorts of ministry. And if you think about it, that makes great sense, because as you're preparing, say, to be a worship leader, you're thinking about music, but there's so many other components to church ministry that all have to dovetail together. And so to be rotated through all of that and get really good experience as to what's going on, we feel that that'd be a really beneficial thing. So this practical ministry, this practicum, is going to include a rotation ministry. So it's kind of like 3 legs of a stool. Leg 1 is the rotation ministry. Leg 2 would be like a mentorship. So of all of these couples who have been in ministry, we would like to see them make relational connections with those students who are learning and growing and being trained to enter into ministry. Now, we don't want to force mentorships. We hope that they come up naturally and organically, but we will try to foster a mentoring kind of a thing where the experienced folks will come alongside the students and speak encouragement and walk alongside them and pray for them. So that would be the second leg of the stool. The third leg of the stool would be once a month to bring those 2 groups together, all of those who have the ministry experience and those who are training, bring them together at church on an evening, have a carry-in dinner, and let that be an area where every month, like, one of the experienced couples could get up and share something that they learned in the trenches of ministry that they didn't necessarily learn in the classroom, but they found very, very helpful and important. And to bring that real world experience in and explain that to the students that are learning and training. And so that couple would be the couple of the month, and they would have 10 or 15 minutes to share their insights, and then open it up to the whole group to interact and ask questions and add to it. I could see that once a month carry-in dinner just being a fantastic part, that third leg, and it may be the atmosphere in which those mentorships really can grow and develop. So I'm excited about that. We're looking to start that in the fall. And here's the reason why I'm telling you this. You may know someone who may have fallen off of my list that I wasn't thinking of, who would like to be a mentor and would like to participate as a mentor. And you may know students that would like to be involved on the mentee side of things. We're looking to bring those 2 groups together. And I haven't started a list exactly of those in training, but we want to bring those things together. And I wanted to get that word out so that you could all help me explain that and explain it to others and get that word out as well. So that's a really exciting thing. Please help us all you can. Give me your comments if you would have other ideas. I'd be very open to that. Connected with that is that some of those individuals that have been in ministry are looking to be ordained. And so we have 2 men right now that are asking us as a church family to ordain them, Doug Graham and Harry Burchell. And many of you know Doug and Jennifer, and you know Harry and Tamara. Doug's a little farther along in the process. Both of them have written their doctrinal papers. We have on the calendar scheduled an oral examination, a council for Doug Graham in about a month. And let me just explain the process. It's our church that actually ordains somebody. But in order for us to ordain them, we want to know that that person is grounded. So we know Doug and Jennifer, we know Harry and Tamara, we know that they're grounded, but we're inviting a group of other pastors. We're sending them their doctrinal papers, and these pastors will come together and they'll do an oral examination of Doug in about a month. And then that council of other pastors will then make a recommendation to the church. And then from that council and that recommendation, then our church would convene an ordination service, which we have every reason to believe that his council will go really well. And so we're planning on an ordination service in August as well for Doug. Really excited to be a part of this process. We've gone through ordination in the past, and so it is a really great thing for our church family to be a part of. You're all invited to the council. It's an interesting 2 or 3 hours worth of oral exam, but you could be praying for Doug and Jennifer in the process, and for Harry and Tamara in the process as well. So I wanted to let you know because that's going to be one of the things that we get to do as a church family. I'm really excited because when you think about these two things, ordaining and that practicum ministry, it gives us a glimpse of how the Lord can use our gifts and our talents as we encourage one another in a much broader way than just here in our church family. So if you can imagine what it'll be like for the students coming up who will go on a mission field or go into churches all around the world, we've had a little part in helping them be prepared for that. And God is going to bear fruit in all of these kinds of things. And so that's an exciting thing for our church family to be a part of. I wanted to share that with you. Thank you for watching this video. I know it's been a little bit long. Hopefully it's been helpful. Please let me know if you've got questions or thoughts or comments. I'd be more than welcome to hear those comments. God bless you. Praying for you. I love you. We're here for you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Thanks for watching.